All right, let's jump right in. We talk a lot about having the right context for our work, but there's this whole other dimension to really effective communication, and that's adaptation. How do we actually tailor what we're saying for the person on the other end?
So, what do we even mean when we say communicate in their language? And no, we're not just talking about English versus Spanish here. We're digging into something way deeper: cognitive style. It's all about how people prefer to process things and what they actually need from you to understand. And this gets to a massive blind spot in how we all tend to work. I mean, think about it. Most of us, most of the time, we fire off the exact same message to everybody, no matter how they think or what they actually care about. And that one-size-fits-all approach, it's just a recipe for being misunderstood. So let's put a name to it: cognitive style. It's basically your preferred way of taking in information. Like, are you someone who needs the big picture right away? Or do you need all the little details first to build up to the main point? It's pretty fundamental to how you see the world. And this breaks it down really nicely into two common styles. On one hand, you've got your bullet point thinkers. These are the folks who want the executive summary, the 3 key takeaways, and what the next step is. Simple. But then you have the narrative thinkers. For them, they need the whole story, the context, the why behind your conclusion. So, here's the kicker. When we only communicate in our own style, yeah, we connect great with the people who happen to be wired just like us. But we totally fail with pretty much everyone else. It's this huge, invisible drag on how effective we are. Okay, so let's shift to the solution. How can we get better at this? Well, one really interesting way is by using intelligent systems. For example, let's just imagine a system, we'll call it Mivante, that's designed to learn all these preferences and help us adapt our communication on the fly. So how does a system like that actually work? Well, first, it just kind of observes. It notices the patterns, right? It sees that one person always responds to short, punchy updates, while another person always asks follow-up questions about the finances. Then, it takes that data and builds these little preference models for everyone. And finally, it starts giving you suggestions to help you shape your message perfectly. And what's really elegant here is that it's combining two types of intelligence. First, there's the general, role-based stuff. It knows that, yeah, CFOs probably care about budgets. But then it layers on the specific individual preferences it's learned about that person over time. That combination is just incredibly powerful. Okay, let's make this really concrete. We'll use a classic, and let's be honest, often painful real-world example: announcing a product delay. We've got one piece of news, but we have to communicate it to 3 totally different people. Now look at how the message gets shaped for each person. For the engineering lead, it is all about competence and problem solving. We found the issue, here's the root cause, and here's the plan. Done. For the customer success lead, it's a completely different story. It's about customer impact. Who's affected? How are we helping them? How do we maintain trust? And then for the board member, the language totally shifts again to business outcomes. We're protecting the brand, and there's no material impact to our financial goals. It is the same reality, the same set of facts, but it's communicated in 3 completely different languages. Each one is perfectly tailored to what that specific person needs to hear to understand the situation, and more importantly, act on it effectively. This brings us to the core idea behind all of this. And this isn't just simple personalization, like putting someone's name in an email. This is about something way more powerful: strategic empathy. Strategic empathy is really about deeply understanding your audience. It's knowing not just the facts you have to get across, but how that specific person needs to receive those facts for the message to actually land, to be understood, and to really work. And at its heart, this is really just about respect. It's a fundamental nod to the fact that people process the world in different ways. An effective communication means you meet people where they are, instead of trying to force them to come all the way over to you. And if there is one key takeaway from this entire explainer, it's this: true communication is never, ever about what you send out into the world. It is only and always about what the other person actually receives and understands. So I'll leave you with this question to think about in your own work. When you communicate, are you just making noise and being heard? Or are you truly connecting and being understood? That difference, well, it changes everything.